Good morning. To continue with the chapter Leaf, Class 6. Now what we did is, lastly we talked in the previous videos, we've seen the parts of leaf, then we saw its function. Okay, so today what we'll deal with is based on the functions of the leaf. So for division, let's see what are the functions of the leaf. The leaf helps in photosynthesis, leaf helps in transpiration, leaf helps in respiration. Now talk about photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? Photo means light, light of the sun. Any light is called photo. Now synthesis. Synthesis means to make or to form, to synthesize, to make, brings things together. Okay. So in photosynthesis what is done? The raw materials are brought together to produce a product or a new substance which acts as the food for the plants. The plants are the only living things that can produce food on their own because of the green pigment chlorophyll present in the cell of a plant. The chlorophyll helps the plant to trap the sunlight, which provides the energy needed for making the food. Now when we cook food in the kitchen, what we do? We use the gas stove, isn't it, the fire? That is providing the energy for the food to be cooked. Here the food is being manufactured with the help of the energy of the sun. So what are the raw materials for making this food? At home, if you want to cook, we are not manufacturing, we are cooking food there. So if you want to cook any of the dishes, what we first think? The recipe, the ingredients, isn't it? So we collect the ingredients. That is the raw material required to make that favorite dish of yours. So here the raw material required by the plant for making their food is carbon dioxide. Now this carbon dioxide is obtained by the plant from the air. The air has a lot of carbon dioxide. The air goes into the plant with the help of the small pores in the leaf of the plant called stomata. The carbon dioxide is obtained from the air and it also needs water, H2O. The water is supplied by the roots. The roots absorb water for the plants and supplies it to the part of the plant which has chlorophyll to manufacture food, especially the leaves. So the carbon dioxide and water, they synthesize in the presence of sunlight, trapped with the help of chlorophyll and forms glucose. That is the food that the plant requires. Okay, along with it, a byproduct is formed, an extra product, that is oxygen. Okay, so this is the food. If you want to know the formula, C6H12O6. So carbon dioxide and water synthesizing in the presence of sunlight with the help of with the help of chlorophyll, forming glucose and oxygen. Glucose is the end product, oxygen is the byproduct. Fine. So now this, how does it help us? How photosynthesis is significant or important, because it is not only the plants that is gaining by it. Okay, it is also us. We also depend on plants for our food. So the plant parts that we are taking in, which are edible, we eat. Okay, it has these stored food in them. So it is providing food for all. So what is the significance of photosynthesis? It is actually providing food for all. Now another significance of photosynthesis is the production of Now if you open the TV, you find that there's all over crisis that because of this coronavirus, the respiratory tract is getting infected, blocked, and the person is unable to breathe. So therefore the doctors are struggling to provide oxygen from outside. Okay, as the person cannot take in oxygen internally naturally, as the respiratory tract is blocked. So they are using artificial oxygen cylinders by which they are trying to provide oxygen directly to the lungs. Okay, now as because the patient number of patients are more than calculated from before, so therein the instruments are falling short and discovery and inventions are going on, ideas are coming up, how to use this limited oxygen cylinder for more patients. Okay, so what is oxygen? Oxygen is actually a life-saving gas. It is the gas required for us to survive. And this is produced naturally only by plants by the process of photosynthesis. So this is a very, very important significance of photosynthesis. Oxygen for all. So these two are the significance of photosynthesis, that food is being produced for all and oxygen is also being produced for all. The next use, that is transpiration. So transpiration is a process of plants by which they lose the excess water present in it. Now how does this help the plant? Okay, so transpiration is loss of excess water. How does this water is lost by the plant? It is lost by the plant in the form of water vapor. From where does this water vapor liberated or given out? It is given out through the stomatas. Where are the stomatas? Stomatas are present in the undersurface of the leaf. Okay, so now this in chemistry or physics you must have studied that the state of change of matter requires energy. Fine. So now for water, the root is absorbing water from the soil, but the plant is giving out water in the form of water vapor. So how is the water getting transformed to water vapor or converted to water vapor? There has to be some amount of heat absorbed by the water to change it to water vapor. That heat is actually the internal heat of the plant, which helps the water to be changed to water vapor to be given out through the stomata. Now in this process, by utilizing the internal heat of the plant for transpiration, what happens? The significance of transpiration, it has a cooling effect on the plant. So the plant can cool down. If the heat outside is very high, this helps the plant to cool down. Fine. So the next significance of transpiration is transpirational pull. What does this mean? This is a force. This is a force required by the plant to pull the water absorbed by the root right up to the tallest branch of the tree. Right? So you can see, if you talk about a bamboo plant or you see a mango tree, peepal tree, huge and tall, isn't it? How come the water right from the root is reaching the highest branch of the plant? It is because of the force created by transpiration called transpiration pull. That is, if we draw a plant, okay, very quickly, the leaf of the plant. Okay, the stomata in the leaf of the plant is losing water. The water is being lost by the stomata of the plant. Right. Now what happens? This stomata creates an empty space and it now needs more water. So it pulls water from the cell beside it. That cell in turn will pull water from the cell adjacent to that. So this is how a suction pull is created, and because of which right from the roots the water starts going up. Okay, so this pull, this suction pull created because of the loss of water from the stomata creates a pull, a force which is called transpirational pull. Fine. In our buildings what happens? Even in the tallest buildings we have electric pumps, we just switch it on and this we don't have to worry about. That suction is created by those electric pumps. But plants do not have such machines. So this is how plant pulls water right up to the tallest branch of the tree. Okay. Now the next that we need to know about is the modifications of leaves. The leaves are modified. Modified means there are certain changes. What we studied about the structure, the lamina, the leaf blade, the petiole, the mid vein, everything is the structure of a normal or a general leaf. But due to some special functions to be performed by that leaf, so the parts of the leaf are modified. Okay, now because of these modifications, the leaf can perform certain special functions. So to perform the special functions, maybe the complete leaf is modified or some part of the leaf is modified into special structures. Okay, the first structure that we talk about is the leaf tendril. In the leaf tendril, what happens? In a weak stemmed plant which cannot stand erect on its own, so it needs a special support for it to stand. Right? So therein what happens? The leaves get modified into wiry coiled structures. Now these structures are very sensitive to any object beside it. So as it can sense anything beside it, it coils around that object, and therefore it helps the plants to climb up. Fine. This you can see in the plant sweet pea. Right. These wiry coil structures which the leaf modifies into is seen in sweet pea. Now the next that we talk about is spines. Spines are, the modifications of leaves especially in desert plants. Where water is less, there is lack of water, so the plants need to retain water to keep the water in it. It cannot afford to lose water by the process of transpiration. Transpiration occurs through leaves. So what the type of leaf that we see around here, the broad flat lamina leaf blade is there. Okay, instead of the plant having such a broad lamina, the leaves are modified or reduced to spines. Okay, so if you draw the example of a cactus, so what happens? You see some spines on it. Those spines are actually the leaves, and these swollen structures that you see, that is actually the stem. The stem becomes green and swollen and fleshy and starts producing food for the plant, and the leaves are reduced to spines. Okay, example, cactus. Scale leaves. Scale leaves, if you take the example of an onion, okay, you see the outer layer of the onion is light pink and very dry, okay, papery. So that is the scale leaf, and it is modified to protect the plant. Okay, now you see the inside layer of the onion is a little thick and fleshy. They are also leaves which helps in storing of food for the plant. Okay, so scale leaves present in onion. Another set of very important modifications in plants that are seen are called a group of plants called insectivorous plants. Now, plants which entrap insects. It is not taking the this insects for as food. These insectivorous plants have been seen to be growing in places where the soil lacks in nitrogen. So as the soil lacks in nitrogen, this is supplemented or fulfilled by the plant by trapping insects. The insects are dissolved and the nitrogen is used from it. They also side by side do carry on photosynthesis and produce the food. The insects are trapped only to satisfy the nitrogen deficiency in the soil. Fine. So there what we see in a pitcher plant. In a pitcher plant, what is seen? The lamina, that is the broad flat part of the leaf, okay, and the leaf blade is transformed, modified into a pitcher-like structure. Pitcher, in which you have heard the story of the crow dropping pebbles in the pitcher. Okay, so it forms a pitcher-like structure. The leaf apex, that is the tip of the leaf, remember, that modifies into a lid. So the pitcher with a lid. The lid is actually the apex of the leaf. The petiole, that is the leaf stalk, if you remember, is modified into a leafy structure which does the work of the leaf. Okay, so that is seen in a pitcher plant. If by any chance an insect comes and sits on the rim of the pitcher, the lid closes. The insect falls into the pitcher. There some enzymes are given out, some chemicals are given out, with the help of which the insect is dissolved. Fine, and the nitrogen is used from it. Now, the Venus flytrap is a plant with leaves having a lot of hairy structures. Okay. Now, if you remember the midrib, that is the petiole extending into the lamina as the midrib. The midrib acts as a hinge. Like you have the hinges of the door because of which the door closes or opens. So, similarly, the midrib acts as a hinge. So, once these are the hairy structures, and this is the hinge-like structure that the midrib is modified into. If by any chance an insect comes and sits on it, it closes. The midrib acts like a hinge. As you close the door, the leaf closes. And then digestive juices are secreted. Then the insect gets dissolved and the nitrogen is used from it. Okay. Now another insectivorous plants, that is bladderwort. This bladderwort plant has very highly segmented leaves. Okay, small parts of the leaves. The segments means parts, leaves. Now some of these segments, some of these parts of the leaves are transformed or modified into bladders. Okay, bladders are bag-like structure, a small pouch you can say. So they are transformed into bladders which has a small opening in it. The bladders have small opening in it. So if the insect enters through this opening, it is trapped, the opening can close also. So the opening closes once the insect is inside and the insect gets digested because of the digestive juices secreted inside it and the nitrogen is used. Okay. Now this is the modifications of leaves. Let me revise why leaves are modified. They are modified to perform some special functions. Fine. Now coming to the next topic, that is vegetative propagation. Now talking about vegetative propagation. So there are many parts in a plant, so out of which the flower is only the reproductive part of the plant. Other parts are all vegetative parts. Normally what happens, the flower matures into a fruit. The fruit has seeds in it. The seeds give rise to new plants. But in some cases what happens, the new plant is produced by vegetative parts of the plant, maybe through with the help of root or leaf. So such type of reproduction is called, or propagation is called, vegetative propagation. For example, we'll study the bryophyllum plant. The bryophyllum plant has a huge leaf with notches in it. In the notches what happens, buds start growing. Now after some time these buds gets detached from the leaf and falls on the moist soil. Once it falls on the moist soil, it starts growing into small plantlets, later on giving rise to a bryophyllum plant. So this way of producing a new plant is called vegetative propagation without using seeds. Similarly, you must have seen the potatoes also, when kept in the kitchen in a season, when it grows, you find white buds coming out. It is propagating. Okay, if you leave your onion in your kitchen, you will see it is sprouting into new plant, isn't it? These are all examples of vegetative propagation. With this, we come to the end of this chapter, chapter 1.